Now we're going to do a PeelFusion. Whether you're doing an EpiFusion treatment or a PeelFusion treatment, go ahead and check your spike to make sure that you have no cracks. This one has no cracks. Go ahead. We're doing the Remodel PeelFusion. So what you want to do is grab your Renew, which is a Jesner's. We're going to do the Jesner's prior to the TCA. Spike the bag. Go ahead and hang it. And now what we're going to do is go pass by pass, like we just did for the dry. Go ahead and turn it on. Use the same vacuum pressure used for your dry treatment. And again, whether this is an EpiFusion or a PeelFusion, you're going to be doing the same thing. And it's much better to erase when you're doing an infusion because you'll get more product into the skin. So we're doing the remodel. We call it the remodel. It's modeled after the Monheit Peel. And the Monheit Peel is named after Dr. Gary Monheit. And basically what he did was he did some studies where he found that applying a Jesner's prior to a lower percentage TCA gave you the same results as using a higher percentage TCA, but without the risk and the complication that can come with using a higher percentage TCA chemical peel. What the Jesner's does is it basically preps the skin for the TCA. Can you bring your lips in for me? It preps the skin for the TCA, and it'll just give you a better treatment. You'll get a better result. You can do just a Jesner's on someone with kind of oily acneic skin. And you can do just a TCA on someone with, let's say, with some photo damage that doesn't want maybe a lot of social downtime. Okay, you can relax. But it's better to do both to get the best results for your patient. Just as long as you've already talked to them about the possible social downtime of any areas after you apply the TCA that will frost. Those areas will turn into a thin, brown tissue paper-like area. And you just need to make sure you have that conversation with them, and that's okay. Now we're going to do the nose, and the end point for the Jesner's is just erythema. You might have some streaky erythema, possibly a little area that might look like frosting, but it's usually not frosting. It's just the precipitation rather of the salicylic. For this treatment, you definitely want eye protection. If you need to move the goggles to make it easier to get in the area, that's fine, but make sure you do use eye protection. You can use whatever you'd like. So we did one pass. We're going to go ahead and do another pass. You can see she just has pretty uniform erythema. So we're going to go back the other direction. And again, it's the same anchoring and the same touch, lift, and drag. We're going to end up doing about 2 to 3 passes of the Jesner's before we start to apply the TCA. And with the TCA, with that application, you'll see areas of frosting. TCA usually goes after, or rather creates uniform brown patchy areas. But because we're removing the stratum corneum before we apply the TCA, it isn't large areas that will frost and then turn into brown tissue paper-like skin. And they're just irregular, random areas where you either see photo damage or you may not see the photo damage with your naked eye, because we only see about 10% of our photo damage. The other 90%, you need a UV light or UV camera to see that photo damage. So make sure you tell your patients that you can't always predict what's going to happen with the TCA. But once you do see some areas starting to frost, if they don't want a lot of social downtime, you can go ahead and just not go over that area again. Or just do a mild treatment maybe for their first treatment, not too aggressive. So what, on a scale of 1 to 10, what sensitivity are you feeling?
About 6.
So she's at a 6. She has a fan. If she'd like for patient comfort, she can go ahead and use that. It's totally up to her. Every patient is different. Their pain threshold is different. She doesn't seem that 6 is that uncomfortable. So, and again, she has the fan if she wants to use it. We're going to continue with layer 3. This is called a layer or a pass. If the patient is you know, stating that they're uncomfortable and they're feeling like a 7. Will you bring your lips in, please? 7, 10, 8, 9, 10. It's seriously going to dissipate so quickly that you just need to hurry up and get through your treatment. And if they have something to either squeeze or something to fan their skin with, it'll be easier for them. You want them to be comfortable? Okay, relax. But you also want to be able to finish the treatment that they want to get. And it truly, even if they are at a 7 or an 8, it's going to come back down to about a 2 within a matter of 2 minutes by the time it gets up to the 8. It goes by really quickly. So you noticed I haven't done the eyes yet, but for the eyes what we're going to do is I'm going to have to move the goggles in order to really get the eye area. And so we'll start on this eye. Again, you really want to anchor. And if you don't want to do more exfoliation, you can just do little kisses. But this is an area that's really hard to treat, and this is going to complement anything else that your patient is doing. Whether it's, you know, if they're using any sort of freezers or fillers in this area, it's just going to complement all of that. And then again, I'm moving the goggles because I want to expose the lower lid and treat this area. She doesn't have a lot of erythema, so I'm going to do some erasing in there. And then she's not flinching. Okay, so now this side. She may be feeling more in the eye area, but by the time we get to the TCA, and that will go really fast, and then the vitamin A, and then the barrier repair. And you want to have everything laying out, so by the time you need to get to the barrier repair portion, you have it right at hand, and you're not scrambling looking for it while the patient's feeling, you know, a sensitivity of 8. Okay, so I'm done with the Jesner, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab the TCA really quickly. Just switch it out. So we did 3 passes, and we only used about 1/3 of the bag, which is really good. It's a really cost-effective treatment. I'm also going to switch from yellow to silk to finish her treatment up. And spike the TCA. And now I'm just going to start with the TCA. And this is where we might start to see some frosting with the first pass, if not by the second pass. And again, the frosting is it's just going after damaged skin. Could be photo damage that we see. It could be photo damage below the surface that we don't see. But no matter if I'm doing an EpiFusion or a PeelFusion, it's all the same technique. It's touch, lift, and drag. And what are you feeling now on a scale of 1 to 10?
About a 3.
Oh, okay, so it went down, which is nice. She's fine. And again, she has the fan if she needed it. Will you bring your lips in for me? She could have used that for discomfort. It's nice to give the patient something to either squeeze or use because it gives them the control and it gives them something else to think about if they are feeling some discomfort. Okay, you can relax now. As soon as I move my hands, there's an area of frosting that's showing up on her chin and actually on this left cheek. So we'll show you that in a second. There's an area that's frosting here and then here. So those are 2 areas that will turn into that brown tissue paper-like skin that I was talking about. So now her nose. And I like to do the eyes last because that's a hot spot and there's no reason to make that area uncomfortable or escalate any longer than you need to, so it's nice to kind of do it last. We turn the goggles around again and treat her nose. She's got a little frosting also over here, and that's a good thing. This is your end point for a nice moderate remodel PeelFusion treatment. We're going to go ahead and do one more pass. And this is, we already applied the 17% Jesner's, this is the 15% TCA. patient will most likely have more frosting on the left side of their face just because that's their driver's side, so there will be more photo damage. Usually, bring your lips in please. Usually on that side, unless someone is, if they played some type of sport or their job has them out in the sun equally on the other side. But for the most part, most people get their frosting on the left side. Okay, you can relax. So that's about good. If I see any areas that she's got some pigment that we want to bring up, we can always go and just do little kisses and put more product there and hopefully get those areas to frost. If not, we can focus on those the next time. But this is a good end point for a moderate. So let's go ahead and finish her eyes. And then the lower, just make sure you've got their eyes protected. And it's always good to just, like I said, finish the eyes last because this is going to be a hot spot. Do a little more on their nose. And then we're going to put on the vitamin A. The vitamin A is just going to help the exfoliation process, so they'll get through that dry flakiness period faster. For some patients, it's actually going to help dissipate some of the heat they're feeling, but for the other half, it might escalate it, but it's just temporary. So go ahead and just unscrew the little cap on the vitamin A. Put the cap down, squeeze out about half, and then just apply it and give it a decent amount. You can move the eye goggles, eye protection. Give it a decent amount of pressure. It actually makes it more comfortable because pushing kind of pushes on the nerve and it gives you a little bit of a relief from the sensation you're feeling. And on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you feeling now?
About a 2.
Okay, so for her, it's keeping her, it took her back down, even if she was feeling more with the TCA. If she said that she was feeling an 8, this next step, which is barrier repair, just take about a pea-sized amount and rub this in. This will help to cool down the skin also. And it just is, it's very soothing. We don't need a lot. Just take it, and you can, again, use a decent amount of pressure with this because it gives you a little bit of temporary relief. And if she has any hot spots, you can focus on those areas and put a little bit more. But you can see some of the frosting is actually calming down a bit just from the barrier repair. And then you can go ahead and apply a camouflage makeup if you'd like. I personally like to use Oxygenetics. You don't have to use anything, but that's if the patient doesn't want to walk out looking like they had a treatment done. But just some erythema and some frosting in certain areas is a perfect endpoint.